Sorry, do you have a clip or battery? I think my battery died. Small one, 3A.
Oh, okay. Let me check. We only have this.
通訳の方。はい、ありがとうございます。
あ、すいません。すいません。ちょっとお伺いしたくって、さっき確認すればよかったんですけど、英語から日本語は今回のセッションは、ごめんなさい。日本語から、今回のセッションって英日だけでしたっけ？聞こえてますの？
日本チャンネル。
ごめんなさい。英語チャンネルしか現地に聞こえてないです。ごめんなさい。通訳さん、現地に伝えるときは、
はい、わかりました。はい、了解しました。はい、お願いします。はい。ます。
Whether they have another speaker, but they don't answer me, so maybe
I can ask if someone has battery.
or can I ask
We have one problem. My battery has 3A battery. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, that's good.
Tagami-san, bring you.
Oh, you have. Okay, Alex, you have a battery. So let's see if it will work. Yes. Woody, you have everything. Like a scout. Is that enough? Yes, I think so. Yes. Yeah, let me check. Let me check.
日本人、会場で日本語話者の方に、ご連絡です。Announcement for Japanese language people。会場では、英語が流れるので、日本語を聞きたい方は、ご自身の PC 使って、イヤホン使って聞いていただくようお願いします。
リモートから川口です。あと、もう一つですね、ご質問の際、いつもだと、日本語で喋っていただいてご質問を受け付けることができるように通訳さんで対応してもらったりするんですけど、今回は日本語のご質問はちょっと受けられないので、英語でご質問いただく方に限定させていただければと思います。申し訳ございません。
Okay, I will just click on this. No problem. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now it's working. Cool. Sorry for this. Konnichiwa, Dima desu. Dozo yoroshiku. That is all that I know in Japanese. So thank you for coming, and I'm really happy to share my story of applying Agile coaching skills, leadership skills in Ukrainian armed forces. So anyone knows what this map shows? Raise your hand if you know. Yeah? Okay, some of you. Okay. So this is an air raid siren map over Ukraine. And Ukraine basically the biggest country in Europe, so it's quite a huge territory. And in red, if your region in red, it means that there is a chance that a rocket or bomb will be somewhere in your area. And it means that you need to go to a bomb shelter or to hide somewhere. So all Ukrainians know this, and even small kids. And you monitor it constantly. And presentation, a big part written during air raid sirens, because back at that time, when I was in the army, it was the most quiet. So a bit about myself. So my name is Dima. I am 14 years in IT, 5 years in consultancy, now working in small consulting company, Agile Drive, where I am a co-owner of this company. I worked with different companies. I think the Panasonic, which is a Japanese company. I'm helping German subsidiary with objective and key results. So on this picture, you can see, so this picture is taken on February 23rd, 2022, 4 p.m. And this is a picture that I took in one of the biggest bank of Ukraine, OTP Bank. And we have a team here that we helped to organize. Before bank worked in project teams, we created cross-functional product teams, and they have a sprint review. We have a CEO of the bank. We have the main stakeholder in agriculture sector. They providing a great feedback, saying that team delivered it in 2 weeks more than in project teams. They delivered it in 6 months. Everything is great. I'm heading home. I have a dinner with my wife, with my kids. I got for a walk with my dog. And then this is a picture just in 1 day. So on this picture, my daughter sitting in the self-organized bomb shelter, and it was organized by me and my son. And also you can see a beautiful leg of my wife, of course, on this picture. And we were house near the Kiev, and we could see fighter jets fight in the sky over our house. At night, we could see fires from the bombs and rockets. And there was a time when Russians could really be close to our house, so they were already 10 km from us. So I decided to evacuate my family. And I took them to the border, as millions of Ukrainians started to escape. And this is a picture of my family together with dog. By the way, we have a Japanese dog, Shiba Inu. Her name is Hanako, baby of flower. Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't take her to this Tokyo trip. I think she would be really happy to be on her homeland. And my daughter gave me a letter at that point and said that I wish you, it's in Ukrainian, I wish you to be wise, happy, and find new friends. And I found a lot of new friends in the army. And that everything will be okay with you. Yeah, and then she said, I hope we will see each other. And this I hope was really difficult for me. And then at this point, I decided, okay, I will do everything in order to, to make this hope true. So I evacuated my family to Denmark, to my friend in Denmark. And I decided, okay, what I will do. So I joined army. So I became officer and I became a company lead of 150 people. And I will describe how I applied Agile, how company. Okay. What can I do? So you can. Okay. Yes, I will speak close. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, good. Tell me if everything is not okay again. And thank you. So this is a and I was on company. Yeah, is it fine? It's different levels of military units, and I was on company level. Actually, I started just in one. Decided to. They created a new comp. So you should understand that when in February, and we do not say war. Started in 2014 when Russia eastern part of the Donbas region. So war full-scale invasion started in February 24th of 2022. So of soldiers, surgeons, officers just in a month. And they were lacking of staff, of officers. So and then in a week, they approached me because they organized a new company and they said, an officer approached me and said, Dima, we are creating a new company. Would you like to be a company lead? And I said, okay, what? I just trying to figure out. And now you're asking me to do with 150 people. Can I think about it? Of course you can. And he was with a cigarette, just standing and said, yes. So I had about it. And then I said, okay, what can be worse? So 30 people, 150 people, let's go. And this is where I started connection and analogy to what I knew because I needed some foundation. Yes. And then I thought, okay, squad, it's like a scrum team, 7 ± 2 people, lead by a sergeant, like a scrum master. Platoon is 3 scrum teams working on common combat task, like in some product area. And then company is like if you worked in SAFe, yes, Agile release train. Even we don't like it, Agile coaches, but I worked as a release train engineer and I had 14 teams and I said, okay, 15, 14, what is the difference? So I became a company lead. And a bit more about the context where I operated. Yeah, so I was new in a role and domain, so I am not a professional military man. There wasn't no onboarding time because, again, 600,000 people were drafted, and I didn't have any illusion that someone can go and have a proper onboarding time, trainings, etc. I had to lead 150 armed men. They were divided in units and geographically distributed. I had to drive 120 km in order to get to each of the unit. Men that you haven't hired. So I didn't have any interview. Like, oh, what are your values? What would you like to get together, etc. So I didn't have any interview. I got different men from different industries with different personalities. So, and if I don't like them, I cannot move or fire them. I can move them internally, but I cannot move them outside of my company. And jobs that you cannot quit and war. It turned out that some of the people could quit and I could quit, but I didn't know at that time. So you can see me here. So I definitely quit. And by the way, yes, I forgot to do one thing with all these technical things. Just to show you the transformation from business to military. I will do a bit of transformation as well. Yeah, so this is how I looked like. Only pens were different. Okay, so what I started to apply, the first thing that helped me from the day one is Canadian framework. Anyone heard about Canadian framework? Yeah, some of you. Good. So, so this is a sense-making framework developed by Dave Snowden, a Wells scientist. And basically what it says that there are different environments where we operate, and depending on what environment you operate, you need to act and lead differently. And I knew that I'm operating in chaos, especially in February, March, it was chaos. So, and it means that in chaos, you don't need to worry about planning. There is no reason for long-term plan. And when I say long-term plan, I even mean 1 hour planning, because things were changing a lot. And this is what saves a lot of my time and energy I didn't worry about planning. I just acted. I planned for 5-10 minute section. I acted, I reflected, I changed it, and so on. Some of my colleagues, officers in other companies, they try to make communication plans, planning for a week, etc. And of course, it was ruined. Yeah, and try to explain them that you should not do it. It's just not the environment where we operate. So this is the first thing that helped me. And I actually say a big thank you to Dave Snowden. I saw him in Copenhagen 2 months ago and share it. A big thanks to him for this. And yeah, I am such a person that I like to go outside of comfort zone, because this is where you develop. But at that time, it felt like I am too far in comfort zone. And just to give you some examples why it was chaotic domain. So this is a message I get at 6:30 a.m. from my commander. And he says that in 30 minutes, give me 2 people that will go for explosives expert training. Explosives expert training is, so the job is very dangerous. And I ask, okay, how can you imagine I can give you in 30 minutes 2 people, taking into account that half of my people on duty and half of my people sleeping after duty? I said, Dima, it's easy. I already got from other company leads. Why are you asking these stupid questions? You just open the list of all surnames you have of soldiers and just pick up 2 names and give them to me. That's it. And I said, okay, interesting. So I understood that this will be a really hard decision if I just take some random names. Yes, I didn't want to take this responsibility on myself. Instead, I spent 1 day trying to find people that will like this job. And I found 3 people that started to fight because there were only 2 positions. Yeah, and then these 2 people, they are still working and they're super happy. So this is a picture of them cleaning the mines in Kherson region. It's on the size of Ukraine. I put smileys, but they're really smiling, believe me. I just don't want to expose their faces. And this is how their day looks like. Yeah, this is the outcome of their work every day. Another message to show you why it was chaotic domain is give me one person from each battery that will be medical instructor without medical education. Deadline right now. And this is what I liked in Army a lot. You get some order and they say deadline right now. So they think that I prepared everything. I predicted everything they want to ask, and I'm just waiting. And then order comes and say, here you go. Yes. So I spent half a day. Again, my officer was mad about me because, again, he wanted just to pick up some name, and that's it. Yes, because he just need to do his job. I spent half a day because this is also dangerous job. Medical instructor is target number 2 on battlefield after commander. So also found a guy who would like it. Another example is that we moved a lot. Yes, you could get a message in the evening that we are moving in the morning, don't know where, etc. So it was very chaotic domain. So there were a lot of reactive things and not a lot of time for proactive, for improvement. And I wanted to change it. Yeah. So I started to think, okay, how can I change it? How I can move from this reactive to more proactive? And I started to read some books, and this is the book I reread, Turn the Ship Around. I read it when I was in the business. And then this is a picture soldier took of me falling asleep. So I really tried to think what to do. And when I asked some of my commanders, they said, Dima, you just need command and control. And when I asked them, how can I command and control 150 men geographically distributed that I do not see? How can I do it? They didn't have answer for this. And I like this quote from William Yarmak, who says that between command and control, there is always an option. And if you have a MacBook, you actually see it every day. Yeah. And I believe depending on your experience, your option will be different. There is no one silver bullet. Depending on my experience, I choose the following. My option is to enable leadership on every level via 3 things. Providing clarity, and this is what I took from Turn the Ship Around. Creating psychologically safe environment and raising competence. And this is, now I will share you how I did these 3 things in order to enable leadership on every level of my company. And when I said every level, it means platoon and squad. So the first thing we did, we had a lot of different tasks, like deadline right now, in 30 minutes, etc. And it was mess. We couldn't understand who is doing what, where's the task. So I did a simple Trello board. And of course, it's not rocket science. For you, it's easy. But you should understand that my platoon leads, they are builders, drivers, miners. They are not IT guys. Whenever they saw this, oh, I can move this cart. Oh my God, it's moving. It was a revolution for them. So we created this transparency on our tasks for the company, what we need to do. We put deadlines, we put who is doing what. And the really nice thing was that then we could see how others did it. So we started to build also knowledge base. A good rumor started to spread. And then I was approached by Battalion, which is another unit of 600 people, which has 5 companies. And they asked, we have a mess with vacations. Can we do something about it? And in Army, you can have like 1-2 days vacation in 2 months. Yeah. And of course, there is some schedule. Someone would like to go to daughter's birthday, mother's birthday, etc. It was a mess. You need to have a linkage of approval. So no one knew when they will go on vacation, whether they will go on vacation. So we did the same for Battalion. We created a Kanban board for vacation. Rumors spread further. And now Brigade came to me with 3,000 people and said, Dima, can we do with our vacation something as well? So we did the same, but they have more approval linkage. We did the same for Brigade. Another thing that we worked on providing clarity is information radiators. So there is some bias in the officers that more information they keep, more power they have. It's like, oh, they asking me, that means that I am more important. But I don't want to be bottleneck. I wanted to share information as much as possible. Of course, the information that can be shared. So in each unit, we share it like schedule of guarding, defense map, etc. Everything that soldiers needs to know. And of course, it's not fancy, yes, because we didn't have nice printers, etc. We had to find some printer in the village and ask someone to print for us. We had information refrigerators as well, because in the army, you need to do a lot of reporting every day. How many ammunition you have, who is without helmets, how many thermal visions you have, etc., etc. And then you need to call everyone, etc., to ask for this information. We started to create a big table for each soldier and for each unit. And we, instead of half a day, we started to provide these reports in 10 minutes. And also, for providing clarity, we had short feedback loop. So we had daily stand-up twice a day. So now when I hear teams saying, oh, 15 minutes daily, every day, it's 10 o'clock, it's too early for us. Yeah, then I am sharing, okay, guys, I worked in the environment where we had twice a day at 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. Yeah. And when there was tough periods, we have demo retro planning every day, just 15 minutes for all of it. It was very quick catch up, 15 minutes where we had demo retro planning, like for tough, 2 weeks of time. I tried to visit each platoon every week, so to have a face-to-face conversation. And yeah, I'm moving a lot, yes, so people do not see me. And also I shared my phone number with all soldiers and said that you can call me anytime 24/7. First, they called me a lot, but this was great. It was a feedback what my platoon leads, what information they do not know or why they are not providing it. So after that, I talked to platoon leads. Okay, I get a call from your soldier. He's asking this. Do you know how to answer this? So, and over time, then I barely had any phone calls from soldiers. And the last on providing clarity is proper communication. So this is the big problem in Ukrainian army. Quite often orders is saying what to do without explaining the reason and rationale behind it. I put some of the examples here that I can share. For example, take a picture of all soldiers. Yeah, so this is the order. But if you do not understand why you need to take picture of all soldiers, you will take it many times, and they will ask to remake it because it might be on your military ticket, it might be for newsletter, it might be for autobiography, and depending on it, you need to have different appearance. So I asked a lot of questions why, and my commander was not really pleased with me. Because, I kind of constantly ask why. And over time, actually, it started to change. And they understood that if they provide rationales, then we will perform our tasks faster and in better quality. Good. So this was about clarity. So if I would like to enable leadership on every level, I need to make sure that they understand the context around. Otherwise, they will not be able to take right decisions. That is why I worked on clarity. The next thing that I started to work was psychological safety. Anyone heard about psychological safety, Project Aristotle? Yeah, some of you. Good. So, Google more than 10 years ago, they made a research on what make high-performing team high-performing. And they actually, for 2 years, they couldn't figure out it because they looked at some things that you can see, like level of education, whether it's, gender distribution, remote or all together teams, etc. And they couldn't find patterns among 180 teams until they started to look at norms and behavior, and they understood that such thing as psychological safety is crucial. And how to explain it? It's when you, as a team member, you don't afraid to make mistakes because you know that no one will laugh at you or blame at you. So this is basically how to explain what is psychological safety. And if I would like to enable leadership on every level, it means that I need to have this psychological safety for soldiers and surgeons, so they are not afraid to take responsibility. So I wanted, from focus on control, what I constantly was asked to do by my commander, I was try to focus on trust and learning. In the army, it's not easy to create psychological safety environment. Yes, because mistakes might be too big. But for me, it was a bit easier for two reasons. First, I was not biased with how to do in the army knowledge. I am not a professional military. I was with fresh eye from organizations, from IT, from business. And for the second, I didn't want to be general. Yeah, I planned to go back to my daughter. I didn't want to be general. I didn't build a career. So as in Turn the Ship Around book, it says caring but not caring. So caring about your staff, about your people, but not caring about consequences to yourself. So I worked on psychological safety, and it is difficult to explain to soldiers that are builders, miners, farmers, what is psychological safety. So I ask them, okay, guys, whenever something bad happened, or maybe very good happened, what are the learnings we can take from this situation? Just ask this question and focus on this. And in the beginning, it was very funny. When we started to do this, some people say, oh, I know what is the learning. The learning is that this person screw up. And I said, no finger pointing, no blame. What is the learning we can take, not for taking into account personality, but around us, environment, system, because if it happens here, it may happen somewhere else. So we tried to work on this, but for me, it was not easy because my commanders always said, oh, you need to go and shout and scream. You need to punish them because they made mistakes. And also criminal code of Ukraine is still from Soviet Union time. Doesn't help you, because if you lost one bullet, not in the fight, but I don't know, somewhere on the road, they can prosecute you and do some bad stuff with you. So I was really in doubt, am I doing the right thing? Should I be mad, as my commander said, or should I be calm and say what are the learnings, how we can improve, be a Scrum Master / Agile coach? And what helped me, I found, so my colleague, she showed me, oh, Dima, there is such thing as an after action review. And this is a booklet from 90s. And after action review is like a retrospective, but in the military. And they started to have them. The first one was in 1971. So way before Scrum, Agile was written, invented, etc. So they're very good in retrospectives. And I said, oh, interesting. There is something about then learnings, not only command and control. And General Gordon Sullivan, he is chief of US Army staff, he said that the single most important innovations of the past 20 years in the US Army is not their technology, is not their tanks, stealth, etc., is after action review. And then I said, oh, interesting. Then I need to dig even deeper. Probably I do some right things. And I started to look at different units in US Army that are doing after action review. And then I found this OP4 unit. And this is one of the best US Army units. They call opposite force unit. They are training other units. And they are constantly smaller in size than their opponent. They constantly have less armor, less equipment, and they competition after the competition, they're winning. And it's not like they build a great stable team. No, they rotate their members every year. I think like 30% of members rotating every year. So it's a culture there, not people. And they say that underlying force consistent success is the way it uses the after action review. So all units in US Army unit, it's not only US Army, it's also NATO armies also use after action review. So all units use after action review, but they do it somehow differently. Yeah, so all units are using, but OP4 does it differently. And I will share only 2 examples of what they do differently. I have a separate talk where I just sharing for 1 hour what they do differently, but I just share 2 what they do differently. So first thing they do differently is that it is more important to correct thinking rather than things. Let me give you example. So I had a training drill for one of my units. And this unit, they guarded a critical infrastructure object. And when they are guarding it, usually unit divided into 2 parts. One is in duty near the object, another is having rest somewhere close by, like 1 km from. And then I came to the duty unit, which is half of this one, and said, okay, there is a training drill, imaginary attack from the north, blah, blah, blah. And then sergeant calls reserve unit to go and back up to support them. And then I see that 2 soldiers are coming without helmets. Yeah? And then we have after action review after that, like a retrospective, after they selected positions, etc. And then we have after action review. And then they come up with improvement that, oh, next time we need to always to take our helmets with us. And said, yeah, a great improvement. So it looks okay. Yeah, we need next time we need to take always helmets with us. And then I asked 2 soldiers, okay, but why you know that you should take it? Why you didn't take it from your reserve unit? And they said, we didn't take it because our helmets, we left them in the tent near the object because they're heavy. We didn't want to bring them. It means that if you just have this improvement idea, it will not help you because your helmet's somewhere away. So instead, you need to correct thinking that your ammunition should always be with you whenever you go. Yeah. So we as humans, we're really good in seeing the connection between action and results. Yes, what I did something, and this is a result. We are good to see this, but we are not thinking quite often what was before the action, was the mind process. So this is what OP4 does in after action review. Another is we know we will have a retro, so observe and challenge. So quite often in business and IT teams, we say, oh, we will have retrospective. Let's talk about it. Oh, there is a dead body over there. No, leave it. We will have retrospective. We will talk over there. But they are trying to keep notes all the time. And this is a picture of me taking notes. We had 15 minutes training drill. 15 minutes. You don't need to take notes. Yeah, you will have 15 minutes and then you will discuss it. But I asked platoon leads and sergeants to take notes so we can cross-check afterwards and have a fact-based decisions. Yeah, so it was psychological safety. Yeah, tried to work on learnings instead of punishment and screaming. And then how to motivate people to take responsibility. Again, I was approached and said, oh, Dima, you need just to punish and give some benefits. This is it. And I said, oh, yeah, I know it's a carrot and stick approach. It's not really working. So instead, I worked on intrinsic motivation. which is Daniel Pink is describing in his book. So, according to Daniel Pink, there is if you have autonomy, mastery, and purpose, then you are motivated intrinsically, yeah, from inside. And purpose for all Ukrainians is clear. Yes, we all know there wasn't a problem with it. And then I had to choose whether to work on autonomy or mastery, and I started to work on mastery because in order people to take responsibilities, they need some competence to do the job. Yes. And also that I will to delegate, I need to make sure that they have some competence to perform it. So I found the veterans that, and again, I didn't have illusions that I need to wait for government that will provide trainings, etc. Because 600,000 people. So I found veterans from 2014 that were in the war, and now due to health issues or other things, they are not there. And we created a training base. So we also took a Bondonit hospital, and hundreds of soldiers went through this training base. So this is how we try to raise their competence. It's like learning in our IT companies, yes, or other businesses. I received quite a lot of skepticism because, oh, Dima, what are you doing? You need to wait for a proper training. Yes, you just found some guy who knows medical tactics. That's not enough. Yeah, but I didn't stop, and Jack fills drop by drop. So over time, we created this core curriculum of trainings our instructors could do, and it's in Ukrainian. But one line could be like half a day training. So it was quite an extensive training. Soldiers, they quite often are tired and they don't want to go for training. They would rather sleep. But I insisted because this is really important, yes, for them to survive. So we had a cadence for trainings where all units were, we had a schedule and all units knew what to do. We also pay attention to physical training. We rent some barns in the villages and created sport gyms, luxury. Bought some equipment and ask also soldiers to do some physical exercises because this is also important. And all of this helped me to start to delegate. First, providing clarity, what is the context to take decision. Second, psychological safety, so they are not afraid to make mistake and take some responsibility. And third, raise their competence. And then there is the management 3.0. There are 7 levels of delegations. So you can delegate differently, yeah, from tell, where you basically not delegate, you just tell, and to full delegation. And there is different scales of it. And then you have different tasks. So you can choose on what level each task you would like to delegate. For example, sanctions, no one wants to make sanctions, yeah? So it had to be me, unfortunately. Yes. If it's create reports, then or let's say guard and block posts. So to create an overview of how guard posts are created, we had to do in consensus with platoon leads. But then there were some stuff that we delegated. For example, create vacation schedule. First it was platoon lead's responsibility. But then we delegated to soldiers. Before that, it was all platoon lead always was a bad guy. Oh, you didn't let me to go on my daughter's birthday. Oh, you didn't, blah, blah, blah. After that, we said, okay, soldiers, you are doing it now. And they started to talk even more and started to build relationship because they know that they can swap sometimes their vacation. So between command and control, there is always an option. And as I said, depending on your experience, your option will be different. Based on my experience, I choose to do it by enabling leadership on every level, by providing clarity, creating psychologically safe environment to extent possible, and raising competence. And I actually started to have more time. So remember this proactive, yeah? So I love to run. So I started to have time for running somewhere in the fields, but with bulletproof waist. And actually one of my dreams came true. I always wanted to buy a motorbike, but my wife always said, no, you have kids, it's too dangerous. And then I was sad one day and I called her and said, can I buy a motorbike? And she said, of course you can. What else bad can happen? So I bought a motorbike and one of soldiers taught me how to drive it. And I use it to inspect my units. And I recognize that this became much better. So less of different problems. And then I asked, guys, what happened? And they said, oh, when you are going on your motorbike, it's too loud. We can hear you like 1 km before you come in, so we can prepare for inspection. Yeah, and this is me for the last day. I'm coming to Kiev, to home. And this is the picture I took when I came to home. You can see it's on calendar 23rd of February. So the apartment was just the way we left it in the 5 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, also a New Year resolution for 22 was still there. And be careful with your wishes, because my wife wanted to live in another country, to live for a while in another country. My kids wanted to learn new language, and I wanted to have sabbatical from my job. And this is what we got. Yeah. So be careful. Universe will listen to you and give you what you want, but maybe in another form. And this is a picture me joining family. So we are now living in Denmark. Yeah. So we are happy. I opened the same company, Agile Drive in Denmark. So now we have 2 offices, Copenhagen and Kiev. And now I'm helping my comrades. So I'm buying equipment like sniper optics, drones, thermal visions, tablets, different demining machines. The last thing we did is a demining machine. And also we translated and adopted after action review to Ukrainian language. And what we do, we print it out and we distribute among people. And my colleagues that are not in the military and that are Ukraine, they are also making some courses. So they are explaining how to do after action review. So basic facilitation skills, because a lot of officers, they do not know them. Yeah, and that's it. So this is a QR code to LinkedIn. We'll be happy to connect. And yeah, thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you. Does anyone have a question?
This is a picture taken by a soldier. So you can see beauty everywhere, even on front line. So if there are any questions, then we'll be happy to answer.
Hi, hello. Thank you for sharing your story. It's kind of heartbreaking to hear. I just can imagine what happened to you that day on February 23rd. Just a question. So I would like to ask actually a lot of questions, but we're not in a bar, so I won't do it. But just about to remain on the theme of Agile. So now you quit your company, but I think the people are still in there, maybe. The people from your previous company, that since you quit the army, I think some of the people are still there. Yes. And I just want to know that now they have a shift of management, maybe over there. Do you have any feedback? Are you still in contact with them? Or I don't know, maybe they're still showing you respect about your method. I mean, how do they feel about it? But
you mean in the army?
Yeah, in the army, about your management, which was, I think, a very human kind of. And what they have now, maybe do you have some feedback about that? Or
Do we need to wait for interpreter to translate the language? The question? Okay, yeah, good. So before I joined the army, I was co-owner of the own company. So it's not like I quit. So I just was on sabbatical as I wanted. Actually, so my partner in the company worked at that time and supported me a lot financially because my family was in Copenhagen, not the cheap place to live. And in the army, I do not really receive money a lot. So they supported me financially during these 8 months. Yeah, and then when I back, so now I'm back with Agile Drive, and now we are open in Europe. So I have clients in Europe, like Panasonic, in Estonia we have, in Cyprus, yeah, and in Denmark. In terms of army, then of course I left, and I still have the survivor syndrome because you cannot leave the army. Yes. And of course I'm helping. Now I'm helping by other means, by this equipment. We are trying to spread the word about after action review in Ukrainian army. Hopefully it will be more official things that everyone needs to do. Yeah. And in contact with my soldiers almost every day. Yeah. And asking how they are and what help they need. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. So I appreciate that you have used a lot of things that you learned previously in the World Agile. I'm wondering, what did you learn in your time in the military that you think would be helpful for people practicing agility in, say, corporate environment?
Yeah, thank you. Very good question. So what I learned before army, I was more a servant leader and probably too extreme. So for me, it was quite difficult to be direct and lead. I would always seek for acceptance, compromise, to find the common ground. And sometimes it takes a lot of time, energy. And it sometimes piss off people because we do not take decision. And this is where I changed in the army. So we all know that leadership should be different, situational leadership, depending on where you are, with whom, what decisions you take, what level of motivation, competence the people have, etc. And this is what I bring sometimes. So of course, Scrum Master is a servant leader. Now it's a true leader. Yeah. So I think we should not be only servant leader, but also sometimes be direct and lead the way and not seek for compromise, and all team members should agree, etc. So I think this is my main takeaway in the army. And for me, it's easier now to take a bold decision because of these 8 months of practice. Okay. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Dima-san. And let me share some of the message from organizer. There's a couple of things I need to share here. So this is the last session for today, and we will have mainly OST tomorrow, Open Space Technology tomorrow, and there's some workshop as well. And there's a sign-up board upstairs. If you're interested in, please sign up by filling your name on the board. And if you have empty coffee paper cup, don't throw away around here. And there's a designated trash box for that collecting, because we would like to recycle the paper. And as you may know, there's a photo booth, and you can get a good photo by a professional photographer. And this is ending today, later today, till 6 p.m. So please hurry up. And we're not going to have that tomorrow. Please miss the opportunity. Don't miss the opportunity. And that is it. I didn't share that in Japanese. Let me share in Japanese as well. いくつか運営から、メッセージがあります。明日は OST がメインで9時45分開始です。ワークショップがいくつかあるので、サインアップしたい方は、上の階、2階でサインアップをお願いします。あとは、空のコーヒー用の紙コップを持っている方は、そこら辺に捨てずに、上に、回収用のゴミ箱がありますので、そちらにお願いします。OK。以上です。ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.